Hello, my name is Mark Barkus, and in this course, we are going to put an interior pocket in the right leg of a pair of chinks that we have here. We'll show you how to go about placing it where it needs to go, cutting it, stitching it in. If you're interested in building a complete set of chinks, we have a whole course on how to build this pair of chinks that we have here in front of us. So let's get started putting the pockets in these. Now we just need to take some of the leather that we had left over from the pair that we built so that we can match them up. We're going to look for blemishes, anything that looks weak. This piece here that we got left over is just a really, really nice piece. So let's get started tracing these out and prepping them to be installed. Typically, you can use any of the leftover parts to create the pattern. If you're doing two-tone, you might use a second color or whatever. You can choose how you want that particular pocket to look. So we've got this really nice piece left over. We're just going to use it so that we can keep the contrast that we already have in our pair, and we'll get started tracing these out. We're going to find a good piece that's got good grain, and we'll just go from there. With this pocket, we're going to need to cut two pockets. This pocket will be an inside pocket. It'll also be a free floating pocket, so we're not going to actually sew it down to the inside of the leg. It'll just be attached at the top. So we've got our pattern. We've got a good piece of leather here. Let's get our silver pin out here and trace one on. Typically, I try to not waste a lot of leather. I try and be close to the edges. It's a lot easier to cut out of if you have a little bit bordered that you can work with. Sometimes if you're too close to the edge, it'll roll the chap leather because it is soft. When we're deciding about pockets, there's a couple things that we have to consider. Number one, can our customer get his or her hand in the pocket? And what might the pocket be used for? In this particular case with these, we're looking to mainly have room for your cell phone to go in and not fall out, so you can carry your cell phone with you. Maybe a pocket knife. And on which leg do we put that? Typically, I don't put any pockets on my right leg because I rope quite a little bit and I don't want my rope to snag on it, tear it off, or whatever. If I do put a pocket on the right leg, it's going to be an interior pocket like this one that we're getting ready to build right here. We'll be installing this pocket on the right leg just because it is an interior type pocket. Anytime you're having a little difficulty cutting your material, do take time to strop your knife. A sharp knife tends to lend to less pressure needing to be forced, and you won't slip and cut yourself near as often. I pretty much use a head knife to do all of my cutting, and the key to not getting cut with these knives is keep anything you don't want cut behind the blade, along with any knife. Have questions about how to run a head knife or would like more information on how to become more skilled with your head knife, we do have a course that goes into the use of your head knife. We now have our pockets cut out. We are going to have them fold just like this. And that will be the look of the pocket that we're going to install into the pair of chaps. Now that we have our pockets cut out and we're about ready to glue, we have to match them up and determine the amount of pocket that we want showing, both top and bottom. Once we have that figured out, it's pretty easy. We can put a little mark just below the fold so we know where we're going to glue to and also stitch to, and we'll just transfer that to both sides so we make sure we get the glue below that mark so we don't have it showing on our pocket. These are going to be rough out to match the chinks that we're putting them on. So because it's going to be rough out, we're going to glue rough out to rough out so that when we fold these, that's what we're going to see, and it'll match our chinks that we already have made that we're putting these pockets in. If you wanted to see smooth out, you would just glue smooth to smooth and fold it. Pockets can be interesting little deal. So just a little information about different pockets. Some pockets are going to have a curve to them. If they have a little curve to them, they have a right and a left side. They have to fit in the right or left leg based off the curve. Not a problem, right? Well, it is if you want smooth out to be shown and you don't cut them correctly, you can have rough out. It'll turn out rough out and you have to do them over. So pockets do take a little thinking depending on the style that you're building. And just know that you might mess up and make two of some very often. So what I'm going to do is I don't want a lot of glue. I want just like 1/4 of an inch along the edge. And my goal is to keep the glue just on that edge and not on the paper or down off the edge on the edge of the leather itself, but we want it on the flat. All right. Give that a minute to set. Got our glue on, and our glue is dried enough that we can stick these together. Get these close, tap this down, and now what we want to do is create a fold here. So this pocket is ready to go to the sewing machine and be stitched up. So we'll get set up for that and show you how to sew this pocket together. We're going to stitch these up. And I'm going to start over just a little bit. And I'm going to start here and I'm going to stitch down 3 stitches, and then I want to stitch back 3 over 1 and then go around and then finish virtually the same way. Just to tack everything together and give a little extra strength there in the pocket where there could be some weight. So need to be of course lower than where the fold's at, and hold our strings here. I'm going to try to, and like I say, we're going to start there, and we'll just stitch down like 3 stitches. Make sure our needle's halfway up. Rotate it 180 degrees, and then stitch back up. Make sure our needle's up. Looks like we'll actually go over 2 stitches to be where I want to be. We're using 1/38 thread. Our stitch length is about 8 stitches to the inch. And I am trying to be approximately 3/16 of an inch away from the edge. Then we'll just ease around here. So up to about the same height as our other side. Needle half up. Stitch over a couple. Half up. Down about 3. Needle half up. And then we'll just stitch back up. And that will end off the stitch, make it good and strong. We'll make sure our take-up leather is all the way to the top so it'll release the thread on the bottom, and then work it out so we're not pulling against the needle, bending it. And there we have a pocket ready to be fitted into our shap leg. So let's go over to the bench and prep the shap leg for this pocket. Okay, we've got our pocket stitched up here. Let's work over here to the table where we can melt these threads just using a soldering iron or a wood burner. Melt them down so that they don't come unraveled. Our pocket is all stitched. We didn't miss any of the back or the front, so we're good to go. We'll just take and tap this in just one more time here and make sure it's holding its shape. So now that we have this all put together, let's grab our shap leg and prep it for the cut we're going to need to stitch or to place it in and glue it down. We have our shap leg laid out here, and we're going to install this pocket right here so that you could put your cell phone in and take it with you. What we're concerned about is that we have an equal distance here, kind of matching it up. We don't want it to touch there or be overlapping or whatever. We want it to just have a nice look. We don't want to get it too far out over the front of the leg where it would be up against the saddle. This is about where we need it. So we're going to create a mark where we want our fold. We don't have a small punch, so we're not gonna punch these, but you can take a double-aught or an aught hole punch and punch there, which can kind of help it from ripping. It's not something that has to be done on this particular case because the pull is not too forceful on these corners, but it's just something you'll see a lot of people do when they're cutting the line across. So now we're just going to take our silver pin and we're just going to create a line right there. And then we're going to grab our head knife and we're just going to cut this line across here. Do not cut all the way to the line or the dot that you made, but come back to it so that you don't cut through your marks there, or the end of your line. We need these to not be visible if we can help it. So now that we have that incision cut, this pocket is ready to just slide right in here. This pocket is one of the simpler pockets to put in. So what I'm going to do at this point is, like we've done on other items, we want to create us a glue line that doesn't come out past our pocket piece. So we're going to just reach up inside there and put a mark in there. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. So what we're going to have is a mark similar to that on both sides, that when we put that down onto the glue, it will hold its place till we get it sewn on. One thing that we want to make sure of is that we're in the right spots right here so you don't see big gaps. We're good. We're going to go ahead and glue this bottom piece down. So let's get some glue on it. Work right over here into the top. And we'll have to let that set for a little bit, and then we'll be ready to hammer it down. Another way that you could do this pocket is you could cut this piece just a little bit short, tuck it under, and then fold it and sew it on and have it in place, and then take just the back, the full length one, and then stitch it on, and then you wouldn't have two pieces. The pocket would be the main body and the back would be your pocket. The way this one's built, it's a separate pocket that's going in all by itself. Okay, our glue's set and ready to go. I think it'll stick good, so let's go ahead and stick this down and hammer it down. I'm going to start here and I'm going to fold it against my cut and then just kind of work it down. I want that tight against that cut. And we'll just hammer that into place just like that. So now, the easiest way to glue this other piece is to just fold your pocket back the other way. Well, let me get some glue on this bottom, because I don't want glue to come through. I don't want to see any glue down here, so I'm going to do it. I'm used to using double-sided sticky tape, and this is an excellent place for the double-sided sticky tape. All right, we've got our glue on. We're going to have to let this set for a little bit, and then we'll be ready to sew this up. All right, our glue's set up on this here piece, so let's go ahead and work it down. And we're going to do just the same thing, just work it from that center of the pocket out to the fold, or from that fold area out. And let's just tap it down, and it's ready to go to the sewing machine. Okay, now this one here can be tricky. We're using thread 138 at about 8 stitches per inch. It's nylon thread, so let's hold our thread and get started. And we're just gonna sew a straight line right across this pocket right here. Sometimes it's a good idea to mark you a line across here to follow, so that you don't wave down into that pocket and get a crooked line. Okay, now I went with my presser foot on the wrong side. I don't have a double presser foot on this machine, and so I need the presser foot to be up on the material, not working off the edge of the material. So this presser foot right here was off the edge, and so it don't help move your material as well. Want to make sure that we keep that presser foot up on the material as best we can. My machines that I use in my shop have double presser feet, so I can go either direction and be okay. When this presser foot here is off the edge, it's not actually holding it well. So that's what happened. We're able to do it, but it's not going to be as easy. I kind of had to help it move, and we don't want, when you're stitching, you don't want to have to help it move. You want it to just move freely on its own. And so just experience for me as a machine operator, I knew what I needed to do to get it done, but I wouldn't recommend it. But at that point I was kind of committed and I didn't have an opportunity to change, so we'll do better on this one. We've sewed the top portion. We now need to sew the bottom. So we're going to fold that pocket up out of the road so that we can do our stitching on this front piece right here. If we don't do this, the pocket would be really hard to access. We'd literally be sewing it shut. And that'd kind of defeat the purpose of our pocket, wouldn't it? It's kind of a good idea to draw you a line that's straight to follow in this particular instance. Pocket is folded back so we don't stitch it closed. We're going to grab our thread and prep to start. Hold it a few stitches, and then we're going to follow that line all the way across. All right, so I got this set up better on this side, so we'll talk about where our presser foot's at. you can see where our presser foot here is up on the material, and we can run along this edge, and that presser foot will help hold the material in place. Just checking underneath there to make sure I'm not sewing a belt down or some fringe or a leg piece or something. It's pretty easy to get something folded up under there and stitch it down where we don't want it stitched. Alright, hopefully I didn't go one stitch too far. Oh, looks like we're good. Sometimes you get like in next to where the buckles and the lacing is and everything, and it's going to have lots of thickness on. Sometimes when that happens, what's going to happen is it's going to cause your material to shift when you lift your needle up out and put a little, like on that corner, to turn your presser foot. There we go. We're going to just melt these threads here. We're looking to make sure that they have smooth transitions, that the thread is melted down in there good, that it's pulled in between. All right, here is what it looks like on the back side. We flip that up so we can stitch it in and get this stitched, and then we stitch that there. And so this pocket is in. We've got a nice transition right here. You can get a cell phone to set in there and you can still get it out. This will work whether it's shotguns or these chinks. And hope this gives you some tools in your toolbox that you can add to your chap making resume. Thanks for joining us.